Okay, everybody, so this is my review of The Wheel of Time, Episode 6, The Flame of Valon. Like always, in the comments, if you're going to talk about the books, please make sure you are talking about stuff we've already seen in the show, nothing in the future, please. No spoilers from the books, only stuff we've already seen that's in the books, that's in the show. I have not read the book, so please keep that a mystery for everybody so we can still enjoy it as new. So this episode, we got to meet this new character of Siuan, and we get a little glimpse into her backstory here, and she was channeling at this very young age, untying this knot we see of her poor father, the fisherman. So she's got this bit of traumatic moment in her life where her house burns down, she has to leave her dad, go to the White Tower, and there's some symbol there. Book readers probably will know what it is that is marked on the burnt area. I wonder who did it, but it will be interesting when that comes back around for the character of Siuan. So when we get a glimpse of her in present day, she is played by Sophie Okunedu, who was actually nominated for an Oscar for supporting actress in Hotel Rwanda in 2004. But she really does a good job in this role, and it's a big role because she has to do a lot of facial expressions and reactions that mean many things, and she pulls it off throughout this episode. I also love the set here. I love the hall that they're in, and I love that it's circular. Again, just going to the theme of the show about the wheel, and the whole show is circular, and it gives the cinematographer a little, room to play with here and do things in circular motion, which he does a lot through this episode. And it was really cool looking. I think I love the height of this hall, and I also love all the colors we're seeing by the different Aes Sedai, and they can kind of really show it off here on this set. I thought it looked really good. Now, Logain has been great in this show so far. I think he's a fan favorite. It was nice to see him again here, but he's kind of put in front of Siuan, and she's like, why is he chained, gentled? He is no threat. I actually love this line, again, just reminding people who don't read the books all these different kind of rules of the world. And I like that he gets to boast here, saying he faced 9 Aes Sedai and still staked the green, won't say the word here, to the wall. But he also has interesting information that Aes Sedai, the further they get from the tower, he claims you are weaker than you ever been. So I thought that was interesting too. But you see, Siuan won't give him the benefit of just giving him death. She wants him to suffer in his ways, in his madness, and wants him to serve as an example to all other false dragons and men who dare to channel. It's better to watch this episode twice. This is definitely a watch twice episode, especially if you haven't read the books, because it will all seem so different once you know the whole twist about Siuan and Moiraine being in on their plan together. So you're kind of seeing how much of this is an act, and also how much Leandrin has a good sense of something's up, and how she's onto them. And in this episode, Leandrin really, really lines up with the character of Draco Malfoy to me, and how accusatory she is, just being nosy, saying nasty things.
Bet you loved that, didn't you, Potter? Famous Harry Potter. Can't even go to a bookshop without making the front page.
But she's not far off from what's actually going on, which is interesting. So I like, again, having Leandrin on the screen as much as they have. I think she's an interesting character and a nice combative force to Moiraine. And you see Leandrin even talks back to Siuan and saying things like, doesn't question Moiraine because mother was once blue herself. I really like lines like that. And again, it just reminds me so much of Draco.
Good one, Goyle. You're absolutely right. Saint Potter.
So my favorite scene in this episode, which I thought was awesome, was when Moiraine shows up to Mat and takes the darkness from Shadow City out of him and puts it into the cursed blade. And like I've mentioned, CGI hasn't been great in the show, but I'm sure season 2 will be way better, so I'm not gonna obsess over that. But I really like the scene. It felt like I was watching a scene from The Exorcist. It was like this really, really awesome scene. And I am a little confused though. I'm pretty sure she's gentling there, but they don't say it in the episode. And I'm confused because I wouldn't just say she's gentling, because Rand seemed oddly nice to her after, not asking questions because he knows what would happen to Mat if he was gentled. So I was a little confused by that. So if people can clear that up, if she was actually gentling him there, if it was just some other power, I would love to know that, because it was not clear to me. But the conversation with Moiraine and Rand here is interesting because she says, he still could be the dragon because he has incredible strength because he wasn't already fully consumed by that darkness from the blade. So that's interesting. I like that. Every character in this group from Two Rivers, they're giving you little teases at them being the dragon. And at this episode opens the possibility of them all being like a separate dragon entity, which is kind of cool. And you see here, Moiraine, goes to Nynaeve and is like, why didn't you tell me what was happening with Mat? You could have had him killed. And she says, if wisdom is the title you claim, I suggest you start using some. Whoa, that is like mic drop moment for Moiraine. Ouch. So Megan, who is this blue leader, has this nice spa day with Moiraine. I love this hot tub, by the way. This is my dream. If want to know something about me? Everything I do in life is to one day be able to have a beautiful indoor hot tub. It's what gets me up in the morning, and this hot tub looked amazing, so shout out hot tubs and fellow people who have that dream. But, Megan wants Moiraine to stay in the tower so she can travel to find the ship that was missing. So this is going to be the reason why Moiraine tells Siuan later on that she wants to be exiled as the punishment. And now quickly, maybe a little too quickly pacing-wise for my taste, it kind of felt abrupt, but Moiraine is told about Egwene and Perrin arriving, and Egwene asks Moiraine and Matt about Matt and Rand, and she does not tell her she already saw them and do what she did to Matt. So it's interesting how private she's being about everything. Like she's saying to everyone, keep these secrets. And she's even saying that to Egwene about her telling her about Perrin with this wolf power. Like, she's like, people will kill him. So it's fascinating. And this episode put Moiraine in a better light to me as it went on, her true care for this group. But there's still gray there, which we're going to get to. I'm going to point out a couple things I thought was interesting with her character. And all in all, the character of Moiraine has been super interesting. Rosamund Pike is obviously killing it, but she's bringing that complication where she's bringing so much with her facial expressions. And if you like her, if you can trust her, if you can't trust her. So I like how they're doing her character. They've really put such a nice detail to her. So what was also interesting with Moiraine was when she's in her bedroom, she's putting her hair down. She's taking off the blue garments, the jewelry. It's the first time we're not seeing her in her Aes Sedai state here, which I thought was really interesting. And of course, it's when she's going to the big reveal, which we see her lover is Siuan. This is going to be the thing that's going to set off people on IMDb that just troll and give 1-star reviews to things they say are woke. So, there's going to be huge fighting about this episode, but I think it's just ridiculous. I mean, who cares? It's the decision of the writers here, and if it's good storytelling, if it's good relationship building, then so be it. Again, it's not the books, it's a show. It's a different medium here, and it's going to be a lot different than the books. But it's interesting, so Moiraine masked the bond with Lan here. And she's like, it's been at least 2 years since she's done that, thought you need a welcome break. And he's like, you're not safe here, Moiraine, and I can't protect you if I can't feel you, which is really interesting stuff, especially for me. I think this whole masking concept's pretty cool, that they can kind of put a break on that bond they have. And, she just tells him to make priority protecting our friends from the Two Rivers. And, I'm reading this as she, that Lan knows about she's going to see Siuan and that she has this side business relationship with, but she doesn't want Lan knowing that she's also in love with her and sleeping with her. I'm sure that's why she does the masking. But we see that is what that mirror from the last episode I was asking about is now. It's like this magic mirror, something you'd see from like Alice in the Looking Glass that travels her to see Siuan. But where there's so much important dialogue is in this scene with Siuan and Moiraine. And Siuan reiterates, the dragon will defeat the Dark One or join him no matter how many dragons there are, right? So Moiraine says, I'll kill them myself before I will let him have them. And Siuan says, good. Now, we don't know if Moiraine really means that or she's just saying that to keep Siuan happy and not doubting her intentions. But Siuan's telling her of the dream she's having at the Dark One is at the eye of the world. He's barely hanging on to his power, but getting stronger every day. We can destroy him if we go now. So that's why there's this huge movement to them going into the Waygate later, which we'll get to. But this is where Moraine's like, we would be sentencing the other 4 to certain death if they're not all, the dragon. And Siuan says maybe, maybe not, but Moiraine says who becomes between the dragon and the Dark One will die. So this is so important because it says a lot about Moraine's character that she has said that statement in all the prophecies and it's consistent, right? That's just basically what they take as truth. But later on, when Egwene asked her at the Waygate, what's going to happen to whoever's not the dragon? She's like, we're not certain. So it's a very serious white lie. It's not a super lie because there is some, still uncertainty because it is just a prophecy, but, it's a lie nonetheless. And I'm sure that's going to come up later on between the Two River group and Moiraine. We also learn here when Leandrin is confronting Moiraine and onto her about her spending time with these friends of Nynaeve that she says, I will tell the Red Sisters we both know what they will do, talking about that she knows that Leandrin is seeing a man on the side in the North Harbor, someone who supposedly hates men. So that's interesting, and it shows too how seriously the Red Sisters take that they would hurt the man in that situation. So it's like they both got a little dirt on each other here.
Potter.
But I do love, again, this conflict between, and this, relationship seesaw battle between Leandrin and Moiraine. So we see Moiraine brings Egwene and Nynaeve to Sawan here, and I love the moment when Sawan says, "I've been told you're the most powerful channeler we have seen in years." Nynaeve, Almeria. But at that moment, Egwene thought she was talking about her. Her smile perks up, and then she's like shocked to hear it's actually Nynaeve, because again, they still don't know Egwene can channel. But there's some good writing here and good important dialogue with Sawane, where she's like, "The wheel doesn't care if you're young and afraid. The wheel calls you to this, whether you can bear it or not. The last battle is coming. What any of us wants now is meaningless." So these are important lines to throw in too, because it's going to be reasons to sell how we're convinced that all these Two Rivers folk, except one, would actually go through with this and go through the Waygate. It's like almost manipulation in a way, because can we trust all these things that people say about the wheel? Or again, there's just these false statements being made. We'll see. And remembering too, characters like Sawan and Moiraine, they at the end of the day are going after what they really want, their agenda, and I think the good of them will be, yes, they're doing it for a good cause to stop the Dark One, but how are they getting away with it, and how are they doing it? And again, it makes it more of a great character with Moiraine by her lying here about not being sure what happens to the ones that aren't the dragon. Now, before we even go to that Waygate scene, though, there was a really good scene here where they actually show Moiraine swears on this oath rod of her oath of being exiled and not coming back to the tower, and she can never return unless Sawan calls her back. So this was great acting by Rosamund and Sophie here, because their facial expressions are saying so much more than what's actually being said, because we're just hearing the oath. But, they're able to still put on a front to all the sisters and still show that emotion of heartbreak and love for each other. I thought that was really, really good, and letting actors that are great do their thing. So I think what's going to really excite fans of the show is the band back together here at this Waygate. And, we learned they're going right to the eye of the world, and that this is where the Darksworn prison is, where he was trapped by the last dragon at the cost of almost everything. One of you will finish a job you started in your past life, she says. So lines like this get someone like me who hasn't read the book really pumped. And I think people, I could see the other side of this where book readers aren't really enjoying the show as much, because you lose that mystery and suspense and like, ooh, what does that mean? That's exciting. Where like, you already know. So that's why I didn't read the books before this, and I kind of wanted just to go in a fresh face, because I actually regret when I read books before the show. I like reading them after for that reason. But, we'll see. Maybe I'll start reading the books soon, because there's so many books, and if there's going to be so many seasons, I'm not going to be able to read the books then until, I'm like 50, so. But this stuff, someone who hasn't read the books, really excites me. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Like, where are we going with this? And when they open that Waygate, it looks like, something straight out of the Lord of the Rings with the Mordor there. But the big shocker here is when Matt's like, is it too late to change my mind? So when they're going into the Waygate, he doesn't go in. He's like, F it. He stays back. So this is a nice cliffhanger. One, because we got the crew back together and they're going in the Waygate, and two, because Matt is the big variable here who didn't go. Again, if we can get a confirmation that he was gentled, because that would be something too, or we have to look into how Matt's going to be acting now as a result of that, or if it was just literally straight up some kind of channeling power that, Moiraine used to just get the dark power back into that blade. Please, someone clear that up. And that maybe is annoying, because I don't think I'm an idiot here, right? You're an idiot! Like, it was a little not totally clear to someone who hasn't read the books. Like, I would have just assumed it was gentling if Rand didn't just act so, nonchalant about it after, because he was so protective before and worried about that. But we'll see. But I'm giving this episode an 8.8. Again, this is the third episode in a row I've given an 8.8. It's what's coming to my mind every time. I just think it's been consistently solid. I hope it gets that 9 level and goes to the ceiling this show can have. But yeah, I think I've liked literally all 3 episodes the same here in a row. I really enjoy this. This is a slower one, but this is clearly the big setup one where all scenes are having a great purpose, moving the story forward. There's no throwaway scenes. The acting was great across the board here, and we got to let these 2 actresses of Rosamund and Sophie kind of steal the show here and show why they've been in this game for a while and their great acting chops. So it was exciting to watch that. But it's really exciting to see where this is going next. And remember, these are the first 6 episodes they sent to critics. So we'll see now. They've been holding episode 7. I'm sure it's a big one. And again, there's going to be probably some really shocking stuff happening now. We're going to be in a new environment here. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But let me know what you guys think. I read every comment and try to respond to as many as I can. And please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of The Wheel of Time. It helps me in so many ways. If you just subscribe, you have no idea. I'd be forever grateful to you. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And if you love what I do here, I'd really appreciate if you become a member today. You'll get exclusive perks, and it'll help me do this full time one day. I'm truly grateful to all of you, and I'll see you next week.